So as I sit down and start the process of imagining how I want to make this first movement of my piece, I am coming up with this initial idea which seems really appealing to me, and it's this very quirky and lively dance. So I begin kind of imagining this character winding through that will create sort of the seeds of the first theme of the first movement in some sense. And I really like the idea that it has a very lively, kind of quirky, slightly off-kilter feeling to it. So it feels very much as though directionality and movement is really born into what it is and what its character is. And I like this because, of course, the first movement is titled Herbal, so I'm imagining these somewhat quirky plants, like what you would see in the Voynich, very, fanciful things, growing up, and maybe vines that kind of wind around one another, and carry themselves in a very organic type of way. So this dance is really appealing to me, and I'm thinking also, as I'm imagining this character of the dance, what kind of color I want it to take on. And what I mean by that is how I want to orchestrate it, what instruments I want to be playing it. So in order to sort of highlight its very colorful, kind of playful character, I'm thinking about putting the piccolo, the oboe, and an instrument called a cimbalom, which I'll explain in a second, and a violin pizzicato on this initial idea. And then from there, of course, it'll evolve in different directions and be orchestrated differently as it develops. So just to explain the cimbalom a little bit, because it's an unusual thing that we don't necessarily see in the orchestra every day. This is in the hammered dulcimer family. So, imagine an instrument that is a stringed instrument which you hit with hammers. And it has unisons, as a piano has unisons. But unlike the piano, the way that the sound happens in the cimbalom, of course, is manually with these hammers, as opposed to, mechanistically you hit the keys, and the hammers, they have a mechanism from the keys hitting the strings. So there's a little bit of quirkiness with this instrument, a little bit of irregularity sort of kind of built into it, and also the way that the sound color is, there's a sort of a shimmer to it, because despite the fact that it's not detuned in the sense that it's not tuned differently than other instruments, nevertheless, the way that the unisons interact with one another, there's a slight irregularity in the vibrations of the strings and the way that they're disposed on the instrument. So you hear this kind of shimmer and a slight kind of irregularity in pitch character, which adds a very interesting color to the whole sense of what I'm working with here. So I think this will combine really interestingly with what I have, and I like putting the string pizzicato on it as well, because this is another sort of sound with a definite attack, like the hit of a hammer on the cimbalom string, but it's a different type of attack. So each of these attacks will be, very slightly irregular with one another. So again, they get the sense of the, quirkiness of the dance. And then I like the piccolo because of the brightness, and then the oboe adds focus to the way that the sound feels. So that's the world I want to start this in.